Ladies and gentlemen, kings and queens, winners and warriors, listen to me clearly. There are moments in life when silence screams the loudest, when breakthroughs come dressed as burdens, when what's been promised to you hasn't hit the headlines, hasn't trended, hasn't been verified by the world, but it's already done. You've been walking through life carrying something sacred inside you, a dream, a vision, a calling, but because no one else has seen it, spoken about it, or validated it, you've started to question if it's even real, but deep down, you feel the shift, you feel the weight of something about to break open. It hasn't been broadcast on any platform. It hasn't been recognized by the people around you, but it's here. It's already arrived in your spirit, and it's waiting for you to take it seriously before anyone else does. There's a reason you've been feeling restless, a reason why the same routines don't satisfy you anymore. You're not crazy. You're not impatient. You're ready. Ready for the thing you've been preparing for in silence. People haven't seen the work you've done in the dark. They haven't seen the tears you've cried, the sacrifices you've made, the late nights you pushed through with nothing but faith to hold on to. They weren't there when you were wrestling with self-doubt and still chose to believe. They don't have to see it to know it's real. You do. You keep waiting for someone to confirm what God already whispered your soul. But the confirmation isn't coming from them. The applause isn't coming from the crowd. The green light is already glowing within you. That thing you've been praying about, hoping for, fighting to believe in. It's already arrived. They haven't announced it, but it's here. And you can feel it, can't you? Like a current underneath the surface, pulling you towards something bigger than what your eyes can see. The time you thought was coming has actually already come. The difference is you're still acting like you're in the waiting room. You keep asking for signs, but your whole life is the sign. The fact that you didn't quit, that you kept going when no one was clapping, that you still show up despite fear, that is the proof. The enemy would love for you to think you're stuck, delayed, or behind. But the truth is you're right on time for a moment that doesn't need fanfare to be real. There are blessings already aligned with your name. There are opportunities orbiting around your obedience. But until you believe it's here, you'll keep behaving like it's far away. This is where most people miss it. They keep waiting to feel successful before they act successful. They wait to feel prepared before they walk through the door. But doors open to those who are bold enough to knock, even if their voice shakes while doing it. The world hasn't caught up with your next season, but you have to start living like you're already in it. The shift doesn't happen when they announce it. The shift happens when you accept it, when you declare to yourself, I'm not waiting anymore. I'm moving. Don't let the lack of noise fool you. Just because they're not talking about it doesn't mean it's not happening. God often moves in silence. He develops greatness in isolation. Seeds grow underground before they ever break the surface. You are in the emergence season. You don't owe the world an explanation for the glow they're about to witness. You owe yourself the courage to believe in what you've been given, even if no one else sees it yet. Especially when no one else sees it yet. This is not about hype. This is about alignment. It's about recognizing that your miracle isn't on the way. It's already at the door. You don't need to convince anyone. You don't need a trending post, a viral reel, or a round of applause to confirm what's already done. What's for you is already fighting to find you. What's within you is already greater than what's around you. You've been chosen for this next season, and chosen people don't need announcements to walk in authority. It's not just near. It's not coming soon. It's not if I'm lucky. It's here. You've stepped into a moment that only obedience can activate. You've been called forward by something bigger than ambition. It's purpose. And purpose doesn't wait for attention. It demands action. The question is no longer when will it happen. The real question is, will you rise to meet what's already yours? You've been asking questions in the quiet, in the late hours of the night, wondering if your time will ever come, if your prayers are floating in the void unanswered. And yet, even in that silence, something inside you won't let you give up. That something is not hope alone. It's evidence. Evidence that your spirit already knows what your eyes haven't seen. The promise was never meant to be validated by people who don't understand the process. They've been silent. But heaven has been loud. They haven't announced it, but you've been feeling the tension of the shift for weeks, maybe months. That's not coincidence. That's confirmation. You keep looking around, wondering why no doors have opened, but you don't realize the biggest door is already unlocked. It's the one inside you. You're still waiting for someone to come and push you through it. But this is the kind of door you have to walk through on your own. And yes, it's scary. Yes, it's unfamiliar. But just because it feels new doesn't mean it's not right. You've grown past where you are, but you haven't given yourself permission to act like it. The calling on your life is too heavy to carry with a small mindset. You can't walk into big purpose with limited thinking. Something greater is calling you forward, not out loud, but clear enough for your soul to hear. They don't see the hours you've spent building yourself up in silence. They don't see the way you talk yourself out of fear every morning. They don't see the pages in your journal that hold your private battles. And because they don't see it, they think nothing's happening, but they're wrong. So much is happening. On the inside, in your character, in your mindset, in your belief system, transformation is taking place. And when transformation begins on the inside, the results always show up on the outside later. That's why it feels like you're on the edge of something, but can't fully explain what. You're not imagining it. You're sensing what your spirit already knows to be true. It's not always about public moments. It's not always about external signs. Some of the most powerful seasons of your life will start in complete silence. No audience, no applause, just the quiet weight of purpose. And that weight, that's how you know it's real. Because there's no need for hype when it's ordained. You're not here by accident. You didn't survive everything you've been through just to exist. You've been preserved for a reason. And now that reason is beginning to reveal itself, not all at once, not with lightning and thunder, but piece by piece, conviction by conviction, day by day. You've been trained by trials, molded by resistance, prepared through pain. And now, the version of you that was once doubting, once afraid, once unsure, that version is shedding. There's a new version of you that has been waiting to emerge, one that walks differently, speaks with more certainty, acts with boldness, and doesn't need everyone's opinion before making a move. That version is not coming. It's already inside you. It's just been waiting for you to trust it enough to let it lead. And when you finally do, you'll stop waiting for them to acknowledge you because you'll already be moving with the authority of someone who knows they're appointed. They haven't seen the blueprint you've been quietly sketching in your mind. They haven't witnessed the private rehearsals you've done in your room, in your car, or in your head while pretending everything's fine. They don't know that while they were laughing at your delay, you were studying, strategizing, strengthening your spirit. They don't know that while you were being overlooked, you were actually being hidden for your protection, not your punishment. Because what's coming through you now isn't something casual. It's divine. And divine things are never rushed. So while they're waiting for an announcement, you need to be preparing for arrival. Because there will come a moment, sudden, maybe unexpected, when everything aligns. But the alignment won't feel surprising to you. It'll feel familiar. Because deep down, you always knew this moment was coming. You've lived it in your dreams. You've spoken it in prayer. You've felt it in your bones. The moment you've been preparing for hasn't been delayed. It's just been forming in dimensions they can't see. But you can, and because you can, you must begin to act like it's already real. What looks invisible to them is undeniable to you. What feels silent to them has been roaring inside your heart. You've been walking through life as if your promise is in the distance. But the truth is it has already arrived. The world hasn't caught on yet. They haven't posted it. They haven't celebrated it. They haven't given it a name. But it's here. And just because they haven't spoken about, it doesn't mean it's not speaking through you. Just because it hasn't been announced doesn't mean it hasn't begun. There comes a time when everything in your life begins to shift, not in a loud, obvious way, but quietly beneath the surface. You start waking up with a sense of urgency, a sense that something is different, even though nothing has visibly changed. People around you still treat you the same. Your surroundings look the same. But deep within, something has shifted. Your spirit knows. Your body feels it. Your heart is more alert. It's like standing at the edge of a storm that isn't on the radar yet, but the air is different. The energy is heavier. Something is here. And the world hasn't caught on, but you can't ignore the pull any longer. It's strange, isn't it? The silence feels louder. The stillness feels more sacred. You're not restless because you're empty. You're restless because you're full. Full of unrealized potential. Full of divine timing pressing against the walls of your old limitations. You can't explain it to anyone because they'd only understand if they've been where you are. They'd only get it if they felt what it's like to be in a season where no one celebrates you, but everything in your soul tells you to prepare. It's the kind of knowing that doesn't come from facts. It comes from alignment. A spiritual alert system that says, don't be fooled by what you don't see. It's already here. For so long, you were conditioned to measure your progress by the reactions of others. If people noticed you, applauded you, promoted you, then you believed you were moving forward. But now you're being called to mature, to understand that the presence of purpose doesn't always come with noise. You're being asked to trust the invisible more than the visible, to stop looking for signs in the sky when the confirmation has already been printed on your spirit. And this is not easy. It requires spiritual eyes. It demands that you step into the next chapter before the world even knows the book has turned its page. You've been tested in ways others haven't seen. You've had to keep your faith alive when circumstances tried to bury it. You've had to keep building with broken tools, believing that one day your hands would hold the harvest. And while you were being overlooked, misunderstood, and doubted, the foundation was being laid. Not outside, but inside. The version of you who can handle what's coming had to be built in silence. You were never forgotten. You were being formed. Every delay had a purpose. Every detour carried a lesson. Every moment of isolation was preparation for impact. They didn't see the tears that watered your vision. They didn't hear the prayers you whispered when hope was hanging by a thread. They weren't there when you had to encourage yourself, remind yourself, fight for yourself. But now, everything you endured is about to speak through your actions. You've been faithful in the quiet. You've been consistent when no one was watching. And that is the proof that what's coming is not coincidence. It's consequence. A divine consequence of the seeds you planted in seasons where nothing seemed to grow. But something was growing. You were. There's a strange beauty in becoming what no one expects. There's power in blooming where no one thought life could survive. You are not waiting for opportunity to knock. You're about to realize that you are the door. You are the opening. You are the access point for everything that's about to break through. The announcement isn't coming from outside sources. It's coming from inside you. The signal has already been sent from heaven. The command has already been spoken. The only thing left is your agreement, your willingness to stop shrinking. Your decision to move like the moment has already arrived. The space you've been feeling between your current reality and your future promise is not distance. It's resistance. Resistance meant to strengthen you, not stop you. Resistance that's revealing your readiness. Because when you begin to move in the direction of your calling, everything that opposes you becomes proof that you're on the right path. So don't mistake the pressure for a problem. It's confirmation. The unseen weight pressing on your shoulders is a crown being fitted for your next level. And no, they haven't recognized it yet. But you didn't endure what you endured just to stay unseen. So you walk like it's yours. You plan like it's promised. You speak like it's sealed, not because the world has confirmed it, but because your spirit has. And while others wait for the big reveal, for the official announcement, for the public unveiling, you already know. You've known. It's been stirring in your belly. It's been burning in your bones. The release isn't coming. It's already arrived. They haven't said a word, but you don't need them to. Because they haven't announced it, but it's here. There are moments in life when something shifts and no one around you can see it. You walk into the same rooms, talk to the same people, follow the same schedule, but inside you, everything has changed. It's like stepping into a version of your life that feels bigger than what your current circumstances reflect. You can't explain it, but you feel it. A quiet conviction rising up inside of you, stronger than ever. You look around and nothing seems to have moved. There's no announcement, no recognition, no applause. But your spirit knows. It knows that something has arrived. They haven't said it. They haven't celebrated it, but it's here. It's hard to describe the spiritual pressure that comes before a breakthrough. It's not anxiety. It's not fear. It's a deep, holy tension, like standing between what used to be and what's about to be. You feel like something is trying to be born through you. And the challenge isn't whether or not it's coming. The challenge is whether or not you will trust it before it's visible. Whether or not you will move forward before the spotlight turns on. Whether or not you will believe that something and can be real even if the world hasn't labeled it yet. The weight you're feeling isn't random. It's the weight of transition. You're not waiting for it. You're already in it. That's the part that's so difficult. We've been trained to associate arrival with attention, with visibility, with public celebration. But the greatest shifts in life don't begin in loud places. They begin in quiet obedience. When you feel the nudge to change, to grow, to rise, and you choose to say yes without any proof that it's going to work. When you start making decisions that align with your future instead of your past. When you stop asking for permission to grow. The moment you stop walking like a prisoner of who you used to be and start walking like someone who knows what's already been deposited in them. The world has a way of making you feel like you're behind, like you're invisible, like you're dreaming too big. But they don't know the battles you fought in silence. They don't know the fire you've walked through, the seasons you survived that would have broken someone else. They haven't read the private chapters of your story. And that's okay, because this next level of your life doesn't require their understanding. It only requires your commitment. Your willingness to act like it's here, to move like it's done, to carry the confidence of someone who knows they are already standing in the manifestation of years of faith. You've been patient. You've been faithful. You've been growing roots while everyone else chased branches. And now the root system you've built in secret is about to carry the weight of what's coming. But you can't wait for their affirmation to believe in your own transformation. You can't wait for the noise to decide you've arrived. You're not just entering a new season. You are the new season. And new seasons don't need permission to begin. They begin when you align with what God has already spoken, even if no one else has heard it yet. When something is truly divine, it doesn't need a platform to be powerful. It doesn't need likes, shares, or confirmation from the culture. What is real will reveal itself in time. But you're not waiting on time anymore. Time is waiting on you, waiting on your courage, waiting on your agreement, waiting on your willingness to stop pretending to be small so other people feel comfortable. You weren't created to be hidden forever. You were developed in the dark so you could shine with intention when the light comes. But the truth is, you don't need the light to know that it's real. You can feel it. And that feeling is more than enough to move forward. Don't underestimate what's happening just because no one's talking about it. Some of the most powerful moves of God begin in obscurity. You may not have a crowd, a microphone, or a stage, but you have clarity. You have conviction. And that's where all transformation starts. In the quiet agreement between your faith and your future, in the decision to walk in authority, not because it's trending, but because it's time. They haven't made an announcement. They haven't posted the headline. But you don't need their voice to confirm what heaven has already released. You just need the courage to move like it's already here. The most dangerous thing you could do right now is wait. Wait for proof. Wait for approval. Wait for comfort. That kind of waiting is a trap. It keeps you standing in places you've outgrown. You already know you can't go back to who you were. That version of you has expired. And the longer you try to shrink yourself to fit spaces that no longer hold your future, the more discomfort you'll feel. That discomfort isn't punishment. It's the sign. The sign that what you've been asking for is not on the way. It's not coming someday. It's not far off. It's here. It's been here. You're just now waking up to see it. There's a moment in every journey where you feel the air shift, even though the world looks the same. It's not something anyone else can see, and it's not something you can prove with evidence, but something in your spirit knows. It's like the rhythm of your life has changed tempo. You hear something in the silence that others can't detect. You begin to feel out of sync with the routines that once made you feel secure. It's not confusion, it's elevation. The place you used to fit no longer holds the shape of your calling. Something is stretching you, expanding you, whispering to you that what you've been waiting for isn't ahead of you. It's around you now. People might think you're overreacting. They might say, calm down, nothing's changed. But they don't realize that the greatest changes never start on the outside. They begin deep within. Long before anyone sees your next season, your spirit starts preparing for it. Your thoughts begin to rise. Your appetite for more starts to return. You stop settling for conversations that shrink your vision. You start walking away from distractions without explanation. And you don't need to announce it. You don't need to post it. You don't need to validate it with outside voices. Because real alignment doesn't make noise. It makes moves. This is the space between who you were and who you are becoming. It's sacred. It's delicate. And it's not always comfortable. You feel the tension of living in a season that can no longer hold what you carry. You feel the weight of knowing that something significant is arriving, but you're still surrounded by the ordinary. That's not a sign to retreat. That's a sign to lean in. The discomfort you feel isn't punishment. It's proof. Proof that your next level is already breaking through the surface, even if no one else sees the cracks yet. You don't need a crowd to feel the shift. You just need to be still enough to acknowledge it. You may find yourself pulling back from things that once brought you joy, and it may feel confusing. But that's because your inner world is maturing faster than your external world. It's a sign that the future is arriving faster than expected. What once filled you no longer satisfies you, not because something's wrong, but because something is right. The invitation to rise is pulling you out of your comfort zone. It's waking you up earlier. It's keeping you up later. It's stirring your faith when your logic wants to sleep. You've been prepared for this, but now preparation has turned into positioning. Everything you've been through has led to this moment. The heartbreak, the delay, the disappointment, the prayers that felt unanswered, they were not wasted. They were building blocks, not setbacks. And even though no one sent an invitation, even though there was no countdown clock, even though no one posted about it, you are standing in the doorway of fulfillment. You don't need evidence to confirm what your faith already knows. You just need boldness to take the next step. Because what you're walking into won't feel brand new. It will feel like home to your soul. You've carried dreams for so long they started to feel like fantasies. But lately, something in you has changed. You're not daydreaming anymore. You're planning. You're not hoping anymore. You're moving. That's not arrogance. That's clarity. You no longer need to explain your decisions to people who never had the vision in the first place. They didn't see the nights you stayed up fighting off doubt. They didn't see you when you chose purpose over comfort. So they may not understand your pace. They may question your timing. But they don't need to understand it. They're not the ones being called, you are. You've entered the season where you have to protect your vision with silence. Not out of fear, but out of wisdom. Not everyone is meant to know what's growing inside you. Some things are too holy to share too early. Some breakthroughs require your full focus before they can be made public. That's why you've been pulled away. That's why you've been craving solitude. It's not loneliness. It's alignment. It's clarity making room in your life by clearing out distractions. And as painful as that pruning may feel, it's creating space for something greater than you ever imagined. What's next doesn't fit in the life you had. It needs the life you're becoming. So if you feel like something has already shifted, trust that feeling. Don't downplay it. Don't talk yourself out of it. Don't wait for someone else to confirm what God already placed in your spirit. You've arrived at a moment that no one saw coming, not even you. But you've been guided here by grace, strengthened by struggle, and prepared in silence. They haven't said it. They haven't recognized it. They haven't spoken about it. But it's here. The promise is here. The shift is here. The season is here. And whether they acknowledge it or not, it doesn't change the fact that everything is already in motion. There are seasons when life doesn't send you a memo, a trumpet, or a public announcement. There are no headlines, no crowd cheering, no sign in the sky. But deep down in your bones, something has entered your life, something you've been waiting for, working toward praying about. It's not a moment that shouts. It's a presence that settles. It doesn't scream for attention. It commands it through silence. And if you're not tuned in to your inner world, you might miss it altogether. Because this kind of arrival doesn't knock at your door. It walks in through the door you didn't even realize you left open in faith. The reason you feel that strange tension in your chest, the one you can't explain to others, is because you've crossed a threshold internally, even if nothing around you looks different yet. It's not imagination. It's not wishful thinking. It's revelation. Your spirit has received what your hands haven't touched yet. You've stepped into the frequency of fulfillment. And what's strange about this season is that no one claps when you enter it. They don't recognize it because they didn't go through the labor to feel it. They didn't stay up at night questioning, crying, believing, letting go. They didn't walk through the wilderness that gave birth to your sensitivity to the shift. You're not confused, you're just early. You're ahead of the confirmation. You're moving in alignment before validation. That's how you know it's real, when you can feel the future pressing against your current circumstances and still choose to respond as if it's already here. That's faith, and faith never waits for facts. Faith creates facts. It speaks before it sees. It moves before it maps. It builds before it budgets. And that kind of faith makes people uncomfortable because they can't calculate what they can't comprehend. But you're not here to be calculated. You're here to be called, and you've already been called higher, whether they realize it or not. You've started showing up differently, not because someone promoted you, but because your posture changed. You've begun treating your life like it matters too much to waste, your time like it's too valuable to give away carelessly. You're no longer entertaining what drains you. You've stopped defending your growth to people who only remember the older version of you. You've stopped asking for permission to believe bigger. That isn't pride, it's clarity. It's what happens when the inside of you stops waiting for the outside world to catch up. It's what happens when you realize you're not waiting on destiny. Destiny is waiting on you. All those quiet sacrifices, the invisible battles, the daily choices no one applauded, none of it was for nothing. The world may have ignored the process, but heaven documented every step. Every time you said no to fear. Every time you said yes to obedience. Every moment you resisted the urge to give up when quitting would have been easier. You've been building something in the dark, and now that light is rising on what's been hidden. You didn't skip steps. You took them in silence. You walked by faith, not by sight. And now your life is starting to align with what's been echoing inside you for years. You don't need anyone to confirm this moment. You don't need applause to validate arrival. The shift is not external, it's internal. You feel it in how you pray. You feel it in how you speak. You feel it in how you walk into rooms. It's not arrogance, it's assurance. The assurance that you're not who you used to be. The assurance that you didn't miss it. The assurance that all of heaven has already said yes to what you're just beginning to walk in. Others may not see the crown, but you feel the weight of it. Others may not see the elevation, but you're living with the responsibility of it. People may wonder why you've become quieter, more intentional, more focused. It's because you're carrying something heavy, something holy. You've learned that not everything needs to be shared. Not every dream needs to be explained. Not every movement needs to be seen. You've learned that when the presence of purpose is strong, words become fewer and steps become bolder. You don't need an audience when you're anchored. You don't need attention when you've found alignment. And while others wait for a public announcement, your spirit has already received the memo. It's not coming, it's here. Not loud, not flashy, but undeniably present. You're being trusted with something greater now. That's why the old circles don't fit. That's why the old habits feel uncomfortable. That's why the old self keeps trying to resurface, even as your new self is expanding. Because every new level requires a deeper shedding of what used to define you. You are not lost, you're shedding. You're not behind, you're rising. And the feeling that something big is near isn't a fantasy, it's a signal. A signal that what's been spoken in secret is now being fulfilled in silence. And even if the world hasn't declared it yet, even if no one has named it yet, even if the crowd hasn't gathered, it doesn't change the reality.